Hi coders, Leandra here today. It's 3 o'clock, it's coding club. I didn't send out an email this week. The same few people have been coming every week, so I figured maybe we didn't need an email to go out to everyone each week. So I hope everyone shows up and this goes well. I wanted to do something a little bit different this week. I wanted to actually get off of VidCode for a week and make a website. I thought we could take the projects we've been making on VidCode and make sort of a portfolio website of them, make something that we can make and share with everyone. The projects we make on VidCode have like an embed URL on them, so it's really easy for us to copy that URL and put it on a web page. And that way, I don't know, we have a place where we can share our projects, a place that like we have control over, so we can like write descriptions about them. We can add music to it if we want. We can do anything that we want. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. For those of you who are just coming, this is the link that we're on today. So I would say go ahead and go to that link, go to glitch.com. You can make an account if you want. You can also start coding without an account if you want to do that. I have a Glitch account. Here's my picture and like the 3 projects that I most recently made. Cool. So to start, you just click New Project up here on the top. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start a portfolio completely from scratch today. We're probably not going to finish it. I feel like most people spend more than 45 minutes on their portfolios. But we'll see how far we get. And a bunch of you have been requesting to do projects also, off of VidCode for a while. This is it. This is the project. So everyone go to glitch.com and then go to New Project up here on the top. And we're going to choose Hello Web Page, which is just the first one here. Cool. So it drops us in here. It like makes our file structure for us. We have index.html. That's where we're going to be actually putting like our portfolio and our projects, etc., etc., etc. The actual like content of our website. You see, this is like where the actual text of it is. So my like header tag of hi there. My paragraph tags. Script.js we're probably not going to be doing anything with. This is where we would add our JavaScript if we were adding any, but I don't think we're going to add any JavaScript today. All the JavaScript is just going to like live inside our VidCode projects. When you add a project from VidCode to another site, it adds it in an iframe, which is kind of like a tiny standalone web page inside another web page. So that'll like load all of the JavaScript that it needs on its own. We don't have to worry about that here. And then style.css is, I know I shouldn't say my favorite part because we've been like learning JavaScript this whole time, but I love CSS. Once you learn it, it's like kind of a joy just to style web pages. It's not hard to learn CSS. And when you do, it's really fun just having like just total creative control over the stuff you make online, which is always quite fun. Oh, there's 5 of us. I probably should have sent out an email this week. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm sorry if someone was expecting it. Let's go back to index.html. I'm going to go ahead and preview this page just so I can see what it looks like before I mess with it at all. So to do that, you just press show and then in new window. And all it says is, hi there, I'm your new web page made with Glitch. That's not what I want it to say because it's my portfolio and not a website, I don't know, and not something that I want to say this. So I'm actually just going to delete all of this. There's not a lot here. I'm going to delete everything between the open body tag and the closed body tag. So let's look at this code. What's going on here? In HTML, we use this idea of tags. So here we have an open tag that's holding all of our HTML. And then within that, we have a head, which has like all of the sort of stuff you don't see in it. This is where the title of our page goes. I'm actually going to change that to Leandra's portfolio. I don't think you can see this. Let me change my site really quick. There we go. So if you see like this tab on the top, it says Leandra's Portfolio. That's what like the title page or the title of your page changes. It also changes like how your site is like generated. So like if I put it on like, I don't know, like Facebook or something, it'll like bring in the title in the preview of that page. Same with Twitter, any sort of social site. So that is on line 8 for me, and you can change that to anything you want, potentially like your name, portfolio, anything like that. And then we have a link to our CSS. So if you see this, it says style.css, which is the same thing as the file name over here. That's because they are linked, they are connected, they are talking to each other. If it wasn't for this line of code, I could change the style.css file all I want and nothing would actually apply to my project. This line 14 is adding, it's connecting me to the script.js file. So if I wanted to add any JavaScript to this page, I would add it there. But like I said, I don't think we're going to do that today. Maybe I'll add like a couple things just to show you how it works. I don't know, I'm just not going to worry about it too much. Move the chat over just so I can see everyone. And then body is the part that like we actually care about. This is where we're going to be, not actually care about, where we're going to be like doing the most work today. So this is where I'm actually going to be adding my different VidCode projects. And I'm sorry, only a few people signed up last week, so this shouldn't be anyone's first club. If it is, let me know in the chat. But nah, if it is, I mean, yes, let me know in the chat. Welcome to club. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. So I'm going to be adding VidCode projects to here because, I don't know, that's what I'm doing today. But you can make this portfolio something else if you don't have VidCode projects. Like maybe you don't have VidCode projects that you like you've been to club a few times, but you're like, I'm just getting started. I don't really like any of these projects. That's fine. You can make this a portfolio of anything. You can add like pictures of food you've cooked that you're proud of. You can add maybe like clothes you've made, art you've created, like maybe like a short story you've written. Your portfolio can be anything. It doesn't have to be just like a VidCode project. So with that, let's see, what am I going to add here? So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a header. I want everyone to know what this is, where they are. If I don't add that and they like see all my projects, they're not going to potentially know what they're for. They might be like, what are these random collections of like videos? So I'm going to add an H1, which means header 1. I can also add like a paragraph tag, but for now I'm just going to add a header. And that just means that I'm telling the web page this is more important than anything else on the page. Each one is like, this is the most important thing here. It's usually like a title, sort of like this, except instead of being on the tab, it'll actually be in my project. And you notice on Glitch, when I write this, so when I write open caret H1 closed caret, it like auto generates this for me, which is the paired one. So for every like open element, open tag, you're going to want a closed one. So an open one looks like this, and a closed one is slash, and then the same exact words. So you can see that here in the body, there's a body, and then there's a closed body. There's an open HTML, and then a closed HTML. So that's going to be true for all of it. So then in this H1 tag, I'm just going to say, welcome to Leandra's portfolio. And then in like a secondary tag, so like this is less important, so each one is the most important, each two is the second most important thing. This is where I'm going to add, let's see, like an explanation of where this is. So welcome is sort of like a welcome sign. Hello, here you are. And then the second one is sort of like the text under it that's like on a map, like actually telling you about the city you're in or something like that. So here I'm going to say projects Leandra's made on vidcode using JavaScript over the years. ... Okay. So now I'm going to preview this. I don't like to go too far in a project without previewing it, just because I could have made a huge mistake. It could be terrible, and I wouldn't know unless I checked it out. So I'm just going to go up to show and show in a new window. And here it is. This looks fine. There isn't really anything here yet. But I have my welcome sign. Welcome to Leandra's portfolio. It's blue because of style that Glitch adds by default. We can go in and change that. And then projects made on vidcode using JavaScript over the years. There it is. Okay. There's actually one more thing I want to do here that I didn't think about until this moment. I actually want to change the name of this project. So I'm going to click up here and go into here and say Leandra's vidcode portfolio. And so when I change the name of my project, it actually changes the URL that it loads. So now if I go to show preview, you see it actually says on the top, Leandra's vidcode portfolio.glitch.me. So you're actually changing the name of your project there, or like the name of your webpage. For those of you who joined late and want to follow along, we are at glitch.com. Please join us. Let's make portfolios. Okay, let's see. What else do you want to add? So the next thing we want to add is like a project, right? Like that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to go to vidcode.com, make sure I'm logged in with my account. I would encourage you to do the same thing here. Go ahead and log into vidcode and then just click My Sketches here on the bottom left. And that is where all of your projects are going to be, and where we'll be able to pull them from to get them on the website, on your website. Sorry, I have like over 200 sections on my page. I have like a teacher account just because like I've been on vidcode a long time. I'll just jump to this page. Classes/sketches. Does this work? Did I do it? No, it's at home/portfolio. Okay, so sign into vidcode. Just go to My Sketches here. I have a lot. Like I said, I've been on vidcode a really long time, but I am going to choose some of my favorites. You guys are going to see all of my projects through the years. A lot of them I'm not going to include because they're ones that I've actually like remixed from other people. Like this one, like this is one I like remixed from somebody. So like this isn't really mine. I was just playing around with it. Maybe I think I'm going to take some of like my favorites from Code Club and include them here. Like this is cute. So when you've chosen the projects or the sketches that you want to have in your portfolio, just open them up and press the share button here on the right. And then you see how there's a link to project, and then the second one says embed code. You're going to want to copy the embed code. So just press that button here. And then we can go back to Glitch. And then inside of our body tag, we can just paste that in. So paste, bam, there it is. And I think it should just load. Cool. So obviously this isn't all that we want to do. We want to add like a description of the project. And we ideally want to add some more projects. But you can see we've only been at this for like a few minutes. And we already have sort of the start of a real portfolio here, which is pretty cool. You're all really quiet today. Someone say something to me in the chat. Okay, cool. So go through it, choose some more projects that you like. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. Hi. Yeah. So I didn't send out the link today, and I feel bad about it. Let me like really quick. So choose your projects, add them to your portfolio, and I'm gonna send out the link to everyone who just reached out. Okay, cool. Oh, thank you. Someone else just liked it. Okay, I'm back. So let's see. So I just have so many projects. It's so overwhelming to choose one. Oh, this is one of my favorites actually. This is when we chose or we like remixed each other's projects. So someone else made part of this, and then I remixed it and like added these alien characters on the top. I'm definitely adding this one. Let's go ahead. What else? Do you all have projects in your portfolio you like? I feel like it's so rare for me to make something that I like. This one was cool. This one, I tried to like make a project where like the cells all talk to each other. So it would grow sort of like mold or something. It's like clearly still in progress. Um, this one's old, but I like it. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I'm gonna use this one. And then I'm gonna choose one more. And you can see that I'm being really careful here to make sure everything lines up. This is super important when you're programming with HTML. Things can get super confusing and super hard to mess with and use if things aren't like lined up. Okay, one more. Sorry that you're like having to watch this part, but I hope you're using this time to choose your own projects as well. And not just watching. Well, you're welcome to just watch and build your portfolios later. We did this Magic 8 Ball in Club. I do like that one. What was this one? I like weirdly have no memory of this project. Okay, sorry. I'll choose one more. Here, this one, Pirate Cyclops Jerry. I really like this one. This is another one where we did it in like an early version of Coding Club, and everyone like made monsters and then remixed each other's monsters. So same thing. I'm gonna press share, copy the embed code, and add it to my projects. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that you guys had to like watch my like insane indecision. But you know, it's your portfolio, so you want to be thoughtful about what gets added. So this is looking good. I really like all these projects. I'm not sure that I want them to be in a grid like this, but I'm going to start playing around with like what we have available to us in CSS to start sort of breaking them up. I think I'm going to center them and have like a description under each. So I'll show you guys how to center things in CSS. Yeah, basically that. So I'm going to go back to index.html here and go down actually into my style.css file. And then I'm going to, if I want to edit the style of a single element, I can, there's a couple things I can do. One is I can add a class to it, but the other is I can actually use the name of the element. like H1 or H2 or paragraph when I added or iframe to actually add a style to it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to say H1, I'm going to say text align colon center. So that's how you add CSS code. There's some here already that Glitch added. If you're following along, you should have like the Glitch generated code. But here I'm just going to put text align center. And then I'm going to add H2 and then an open curly brace. Glitch automatically generates the closed curly brace for me. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say text align center. How I know that is just that I know it. There's not that much to remember. So at first you're probably just going to be like looking it up, like, all right, like what's the CSS for text align or like center text. And that's super easy to look up. I could just say like CSS center text and it'll be the first thing. Yeah, here it is. So it brings me to W3 schools and right here, text align center. But as you do it more and more, you'll start to like just remember these things. So let's see what this looks like. All right, it's centered. It's looking good. I actually think I want to give it a bit of a background. So right now, if you look at this code that Glitch generated for me, my body has a margin, which just means it has like borders around it. So if you see this like space here, this space on the top, that's code that Glitch added for me. So I'm just going to go back here and say, let's see. So I don't want to do that instead. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to, if you're following along. I just kind of want like a colored border and then like a white background. So I'm going to indent all of this in and then add a div here. It's going to auto generate another like a closed div for me, but I actually don't want that in this case because I want everything to be inside this new div. So I created this thing called a div. Divs kind of serve as just like general containers for your code. So here I'm going to say div class equals container. So now I have this div called container that's holding my whole portfolio. So I'm going to go back to style.css and get rid of the margin here on this body. And instead move it to my container. So I'm not going to just write container here. And that's because if we look at this, the actual like name of the element isn't container. I've added this thing called a class to it. So here I have dot container. Oh wait, so when I'm using a class, I'm just going to write like dot container instead of just like writing the word container. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you add a class to an element on your code and you're writing that element and nothing's changing, you might be like, oh, I just need the period. So then I'm going to add the open curly brace and the closed curly brace. And so let's just look at it without the margin really quick. I'm going to go back to it. So there's like not really any more space here. Everything's sort of just like flush against the sides. I don't want that. I'm going to add a margin of 4 EM this time. The default was 2, and that's looking good. So then on the body, I'm going to add a background color. Just like purple. And the code for that is just background dash color. And then like everything else in CSS, you're just going to add a colon, the color name, and then at the end of your line, just like JavaScript, you're going to add a semicolon here. CSS is like, in this particular way, less forgiving than JavaScript. So like with JavaScript, if you don't add a semicolon, sometimes it'll still work. With CSS, it won't. You like need the semicolon. So it's just something to keep in mind. If your code isn't working, your CSS isn't loading, it might be because you're missing a semicolon. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, okay. So it didn't make a border, it just made the whole thing purple. And that's because I didn't actually give my container a color. So I'm going to go back here. And for container, I'm going to say background color, like eggshell. Is that a color? No, eggshell is not a color. All right, let's see, white. Okay, awesome. So I think this is looking good. I like this. It's not perfect yet, but I do like it. The next thing for me to do is to center each of these projects, put them each on a new line, and add like a short description under each of them. So I'm actually, the first thing I'm going to do here is go into index.html and change projects Leandra has made using VidCode. It's too long. I'm going to say coding club projects. And then add a smiley face. There we go. Let's see how that looks. It's a lot better. Well, so we don't actually, so I'm going to do one more thing here. I don't like how close Welcome to Leandra's Portfolio is to the top here. This makes me anxious. So I'm actually going to add something called padding. So when we add margin here, this is space that we've added to the outside of our project. And if we want, we can add something called padding, which will give us space on the inside. So let me show you how that works. So here, let's say, let me get rid of this really quick. Just commenting it out. Okay, so my margin is now gone because I commented it out. So here I'm going to say like margin top, and I'm going to say 200 pixels. And what that is going to do is give me 200 pixels from the top. It's going to push my whole project down. If instead of margin top here, I have padding top, it's not going to do that. It's going to push it down starting from the inside. So it like retains that color. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep my margin. I'm actually going to make it a little more extreme. I'm going to make it 5 and then padding top. I'm going to be 200. It's like obviously too much. I'm going to give the whole thing. So if you write padding top, it only adds it to the top. If you would just write padding, it adds it to all the sides. This one I'm just going to add it to all the sides. And I'm just going to say 25 pixels. Cool, and that's looking better. So then the next thing to do here, so the first thing I want to do is actually make my iframe a little bit bigger. I think the way to do this is just going to be to edit it in HTML. So here width is 480. I'm just going to make that, see what happens if I make that 600, just for fun. And it looks like, yeah, it just stretches it out. It's not bad. I probably want to make it taller too so that the aspect ratio stays a bit better and I don't have all this gray space here. Yes, let me make this 450. It'll take a second to load. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think this looks really good. So then I'm going to go back here and actually edit the iframes to center them. So you center elements on a website a little bit differently than you center text. I mean, text is an element, but elements that aren't text, like images or iframes, you are going to center a little bit differently. So here I'm going to write, the element is called iframe, and then I'm going to do open curly brace, close curly brace, and then I'm going to add some code that's going to look just like nonsense for now. But it's just like how to center things, and you just sort of have to memorize it for now. And I'm going to say display block, which just means that every element goes onto a new line. So for something to be centered, for an element to be centered that isn't text, it needs to have this property of display block, and it's just something to remember. And then I'm going to say margin, colon, and then 0, which is just like the top and bottom margin. I'm just setting it to nothing, exactly what it was before, and then the word auto. If I did it right, I'm not sure if I did, it should be centered. So let's go ahead and check. Oh, and I did it, hooray! So that's how to center things. I'll post it in the code. I'll post the code in the chat. Like I said, it's just like something to sort of remember. It's a bit annoying. I actually don't want it to be margin 0 auto because I do want some space in between these projects. So I'm going to say I want the top margin of 25 pixels, and I actually want the 0 margin, like the bottom, to be 0. So what's happening here is that I'm setting the top to 25, left and right to be set to auto, and then the bottom to be 0. And that's just another thing you have to memorize. That's like the hard part about CSS. Like programming, sort of once you have the basic logic, you can like muck your way through, right? CSS is just like a bunch of memorization, which can be annoying, but also means that sort of once you have these things memorized, there isn't quite as much logic to figure out. So here, let's see what this looks like. Okay, this is awesome. I don't like that this isn't a club project actually, so I'm gonna go and replace that. I'm just gonna delete it. So that's the third one down. Goodbye. So now I should just have big projects here. Okay, cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is add paragraphs under each of these. I'm sort of going to think of them as like labels that just add a bit more context to the projects for whoever sort of like finds their way to this website. So I'm just going to add like a paragraph tag. Paragraph tags are going to be where most of your text is going to go. It's going to be just like the default. So to add a paragraph tag, you just add an open caret bracket, a P, a closed bracket, and that's what that looks like. And then inside of it, I'm going to say one of the first coding club projects we learned about variables. I'm going to add a heart emoji. I really like the sparkly heart emoji. I'm going to add the 2 heart emoji here because there's 2 doges. So I have the 2 hearts and the 2 dogs. Dogs. And then maybe, I mean, the project links to itself, but maybe I'll like link. So if I click here, like someone will open the project in good code. Oh, it doesn't. Huh. I don't know. Well, anyway, the source is here. I'm trying to decide if I like want someone to be able to like link back to the project. I feel like they do. So I'm just going to copy this in. Oh, and I can show you guys how to make links too. So this is the link actually back to my project. Whoops. Yeah, here it is. And this is where my actual code is. So I can say see the code at, and then to add a link, you want to add it in a link tag, just like we had everything else. So to do that, you add an open caret A, and then a closed caret. It looks just like this. And then you're going to put the text for the link inside. So see the code at vidcode.com. And then to make the link work, you have to add a source to it. So to do that, I would write src equals, and then in quotation marks, and then just paste the URL in. So this is how you do that. I wish I could say like there was a trick to it besides just memorizing. But I just posted it in the chat. Let me go check it out to make sure it worked. It looks like it didn't actually. It's like isn't a link right now. What did I do wrong? So I have a src/a. Am I doing something really stupid? I don't think so. So if something's not working, there's this check where you can right-click. If you're in Chrome or Firefox, if you're in Safari, it's a bit harder. And then inspect. And then it opens this thing called the console where you can kind of see what's going on in your project a bit more. So I can open this up and see that there is a link here. ASRC equals this link. Why? Why is it not loading it? What? I mean, I'm very confident that that is how you add a link, but I guess I'll check if I see not. Href. Oh my god. Ah. Okay, so it's not source, it's href. Oh my goodness. Source would be if I had an image. I was looking here at source. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. Okay, so this is the actual code that you're going to want to use. I just posted the real code in the chat. So let's refresh, and all right, it's actually working. So I can click this link. One of the first coding projects we learned about variables, heart, leave the code at info.com. And if I open it, here it is. So the next thing I want to do is center this text. So I'm going to add actually a P here because I want to edit all of the paragraph tags. So I'm just going to say P, open curly brace, close curly brace, and then text dash align, center. I'm going to keep working on this, but before I get any further, for those of you who are watching, is there anything you want to learn how to do in HTML and CSS and JavaScript and like actual web development that I should go over either this club or like some other future club? Let me know if there's anything like in particular that you're interested in learning, and we can definitely sort of focus on that. Just let me know in the chat. So then let's see, this looks good. I actually want to add a little bit more space between the projects. So instead of 25 pixels here, I'm going to add 35. That's looking a little bit better. And then I also want this to be italic because I want it to look a bit more like a label. So here I'm going to say, what's italic? Font style italic. I think this is it. It was. Okay, cool. So then, because I did this to just all paragraph tags, if I add more, it's going to have the same style. Oh, that was an accident. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add a description to these. I'm going to change the order because this is the order that we actually did them in Club. So then paragraph. Okay, cool. So then this one I'm going to say made as part of a remixing assignment. We made monsters and remixed each other's. Remix this Cyclops. That. And then I'm going to add a link again. So I'm going to copy this here. And then same thing, href equals, I'm just going to post the link. Whoops. I'm actually, same thing, goodcode.com. One thing that we want to do here, just to be aware of, I want to delete the render. So the render is what's making it load for the actual project, but we don't want to link to the render, we want to link to the actual site. So now if I check it out, all right, this looks awesome. If I open this up, it opens the project. So then I'll go ahead and add one more. I kind of want the emoji on both sides of this. So then here, paragraph tag, close paragraph tag. And then remixed comics with Code Club. And then I can say, I don't even know which part of it I coded. I think I coded the bottom part. Yes, I think I coded this part here. Maybe if I look at the project, I wrote down which one I coded. It was so long ago. So this part was made by someone and then remixed by Leandra. Okay, so yeah, so I did the drawing. And it looks like Liam did this. So actually 4 people worked on this, which is pretty amazing. So I'm actually here gonna say made as a collaboration with Leandra, someone, Liam. Let's see if anyone else has credit. And Keith and Taza. Cool. So that's really it. If anyone wants to use this as a base for their own portfolio, I just posted the link in the chat. So you can open that up and actually just open it up and you can actually remix it. So there should be like a remix button up here somewhere. And if you press that remix button, you should be able to actually edit it yourself and add your own projects and mess around with the CSS to sort of make your own thing. So thank you all for coming. Here, I guess I'll end on the actual portfolio. Yeah, I mean, I think if I was going to share this with someone, I would do a bit more work on it. I would probably maybe add dates. I would maybe add some columns. I would maybe add projects that I made off of VidCode as well. So those are just all the different options when you're working on your own portfolios. So yeah, I guess we'll end a little bit early today. It was great to see all of you, and have a wonderful rest of your week and start of fall and all of those things. And as always, let me know just over email or whatever if there's anything that you really want to learn for next time. If you're interested in continuing with web development, or if you're more focused just on the JavaScript track. I think web development is really interesting. I think it's cool to sort of learn about websites. Websites are where probably most of JavaScript programming takes place. So it's sort of cool to learn that and connect what you've been learning on VidCode to all of these websites. Yeah, I don't know. We'll then talk to everyone next week. Bye, guys.